So I got 20 pictures. Let's see what happens.
You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Here we go.
Okay, so I've developed a bit of a reputation for someone who talks a lot about storytelling and the power of that for learning, and I'm coming to discover that storytelling is not enough, that there's a little more to it. But with that said, it's not the case that storytelling doesn't still have an important place in what we do in the classroom. It's one of my favorite quotes about storytelling by Mary Catherine Bateson. The human species thinks in metaphors and learns through stories. And I know that that's a lot of the time how I think. Like, you think about certain metaphors to represent different things, and if you attach a story to it, it becomes really sticky. So, there's people in our lives that, that we care for deeply, and then if they choose to smoke and they start destroying their lungs, and that can lead to them dying. We talk about how our forests are the lungs of the planet, and as we destroy our forests, it starts to destroy our planet. And when you can take something, a story, and embed some kind of learning in a story, storytelling is a Trojan horse for learning. And you can embed some powerful ideas inside a story that makes it stick and that people can take with them and don't even realize that they're learning. The thing with stories, though, is that they rely on context. And Proverbs, for example, always exist in a particular context. And we apply it in the context, but maybe the context isn't what's transferable. I totally forgot why I put that slide in there. Now you know. You ask kids when is summer and winter? It's caused by, it's winter when we're closer to the sun, when we're far. No, if we're summer here, what season it is in Australia? They're just as close to the sun as we are. Think about that. So it's really about these things, stories and developing systems thinking, like how these systems work, and logical argument. And if you kind of look back at the things that have had the biggest impact on our culture, our society historically, it's books like these. Right? Euclid's Elements, the Principia Mathematica, the Origin of Species, they're not stories. They're logical arguments that describe systems and how they work and interact with each other. Now, over time, in our schools and in education, we've begun to fracture education and focus on specific topics at specific times. Math, science, language, etc. And I'm wondering if we're starting to lose something when we do that kind of focus. Then along comes Wikipedia, and the sounds that you're hearing are live edits to Wikipedia as it's being made. The strings, things are deleted, the bells is when something's added, and the sudden swell is when a new member has joined Wikipedia. A totally new conception of knowledge. The solutions to today's problems are going to come not from knowing lots about one thing, it's going to come from knowing lots about many things. What the world needs now is more mathematician, ethicist musicians. Our brains are hardwired to recognize patterns. Do you see the triangles? Do you see them? Look again, there are no triangles there. You're hardwired to see the patterns. Systems thinking forces you to look for patterns and see what the implications of those patterns are. So there's a pattern, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, which in math is, powers of 2. So the guy that invented chess was offered by the king 1 grain of sand doubled for each square on the board. How much rice is that? Well, if you look at a lake, one algae grows over 1,000 days to cover half the lake because it doubles every day. So how long before it's all covered? It'll all be covered tomorrow. That kind of stuff, because it'll double, a half. That scares me when I think about what's going on right now with the Ebola virus. It's affecting, each person is infecting 2 others. The first incidents in North America occurred last week. All those things are connected. When we can tell powerful stories in a context with images and narrative, that's true. But there's so much more that's missing. And these ideas of including systems thinking and how things are connected, as well as logical argument, which is hard to teach and understand. This weekend, I took my daughters to Fort White. And this is what they found in the lake. We went critter dipping. And my youngest daughter screams out at the end, "Look, Daddy, look at all the mites I found." I posted it on Instagram, and my friend Sean Nash comments, "That's an amazing, healthy environment." Like, that's not what I was thinking, but through the eyes of a biologist, it means so much more to him than what it was to just us then, which really made me think about it deeply. So the practices and activities in which people engage while learning shape what's learned. So what does this mean for us in our classrooms? Well, yes, stories still have a place. Don't let that go. But we want to encourage a culture of stories because, as other speakers have said, culture is what changes practice. Embedded in systems thinking and sharing logical arguments, that's the real heavy lifting of education. And that's what I think I'm starting to discover. Thanks.